Morning, Simon. We saw Clayton Oliver running around the MCG after the King's birthday game. How's he progressing?
Yeah, look, he's progressing well. We're hopeful. Both he and Harrison Petty have got a couple of important sessions to go. We've sort of got match committee later today, but those two especially, we're hopeful, but we're certainly not certain by them. We need to make sure they train well today and also again on Wednesday. So we're hopeful, but we're certainly not declaring them at this point.
I'd imagine spending all that time in hospital, you would have lost a bit of conditioning. Is that going to be an issue coming into this game?
Yeah, that's certainly one of the things that we've got to check off on. We've got two really important sessions coming up. Obviously, spending 5 days in hospital isn't ideal, so making sure that he's got the load required, he's training to the level, and he's ready to go. And it's really about performance of both of them. So we've got to make sure they're right and set them up the best way to perform the best. And the next couple of sessions are really important for that. So as I said, we probably won't know till later in the week.
Yeah, Harrison Petty as well. What's his situation?
Yeah.
Is he likely or?
Yeah, they're both the same. Very similar. Harrison's sort of been building up his program. As I said, we're hopeful for him as well. But we need to make sure in the next couple of sessions that we get the loads into him required to perform, and that's really important for us because obviously it is about performance. So making sure that they're ready to perform, and we won't take any risk with any players. So we're hopeful with him, as we are with Clayton, that they'll both be available and ready to go and ready to perform.
And how's the break been for you guys after a pretty hot start to the season?
Yeah, look, it's been good. It's been given us a chance to refresh. We didn't get as long as what other clubs have got because we've got a Thursday night game, but we had the 4 days away. We've got back to work over the weekend, and we've got a pretty important couple of sessions coming up now. So we feel like very similar to our bye last year. It was a 10-day break, not a 14-day break. So we've got a chance to not only refresh mentally, but then get back to work really quickly and get back into the rhythm of the season. And you've seen that's really important for teams that come off the bye, how they respond and how they get back to work. And we're no different. We've come off the back of a really good result on the weekend against Collingwood, but that we want to make sure we continue that momentum now, and that's really important to us.
Simon, every win's important, obviously, but how important was that win heading into the bye, and then it kind of your reset go again, given the fact that last year you had that little run of losses, including King's birthday, and this year obviously you get the momentum coming out of the bye?
Yeah, look, we think it's we want to be a side that continues to build throughout the season, and the last game against Collingwood was just affirmation around and reinforcement about some of the things that we're doing incredibly well. And for a period of time now, in the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've been defending to a really, really high level, and we saw it again on King's birthday. Ability to defend the ground, get pressure on the ball, and execute a finals-like game was really important to us. So that gives us great belief internally about where we're going and what's possible. But we've still got plenty of work to do. We've still got things that we've got to keep improving in our game and things that we need to keep working on to get better at as we move through this season. And it's about how you build through the season, how you get better, and how by the end of it you come out in a good position to move forward.
That defensive aspect and fresh you're looking for, how do you keep that up? Is that the guy? Is that a fitness thing, or is that just the guys continuing to work at the structure? Because obviously it's a long season, there's still a long way to go. Yeah,
it's habits and behaviours, and they're things that we've been built over a period of time within our footy club. We've always wanted to be a really strong defensive team, and it's we reward players that execute that to a really high level. It's the forefront of our game, how we defend and how we win contests, and it will be that way as we continue to move forward. It gives us a chance to win big games of footy. So we'll keep rewarding it, we'll keep reinforcing it, and we want to continue to take it to a new level. And the pleasing thing in the last month is it's back to an incredibly high level.
Got a fair challenge on your hands. It's Thursday coming off the bye, Geelong at GMHBA. We've seen a bit of a trend with teams coming off the bye, at least so far this season, where they have struggled to win those games, and we know that it's hard to win in Geelong anyway. So how are you guys feeling about that contest? Obviously, the Cats have been a little bit hot. It is their turf and they do well there.
Yeah, they play the ground incredibly well. They're the reigning premier and they're the best team in it, until proven otherwise. So we know what we're up against. We're going to train, with the dimensions of the Geelong ground today. We want to get used to what it's like to play down there. We'll move down there and train down there on Wednesday. So we want to make sure that we're as best prepared possible to play a really strong footy team that play that ground incredibly well. So we're going to leave no stone unturned in our preparation for the game that we're coming up against. And you're right, coming off the bye has been a challenge for teams, but we want to make sure that we be a team that actually hits the ground running. We've only had 10 days, so we've had 4 days off and we've got back to work pretty quickly. So we feel like we're in a good position to take on that challenge.
So are you planning to spend the night down there, are you?
Yeah, so we're moving our program down there on Wednesday and treat it like a game away from home and spend a night in a hotel and train down there and prepare ourselves as best we can. We've played down there a lot in the last 4 or 5 years. We've had some success. We've also had some pretty average performances, but we want to treat it like an away game and head down the highway and train and get to work.
Is that the first time you've done it, or are you just mixing up, or?
No, this is the first time we've done it, but as I said, we want to make sure that we prepare ourselves as best we can, and this is part of preparation. You don't play down there very often, from year to year, so we've played down there a few times in the last few years, but we want to train down there, we want to get used to the environment, and we want to set it up, that we prepare as best we can, and this is one of those ways that we can do it.
So where do you train when you're down there? Do they let you train on their ground, or do you have to go elsewhere?
Yeah, no, we'll train on their ground. So we'll get used to the dimensions, and just like every other away game, whether it's Adelaide Oval or Optus Stadium, you always get to train at that ground. So we'll go down there and train on Wednesday and prepare as best we can for Thursday night.
Just going back to Clayton, I know you already addressed Simon, but obviously you'll need to train strongly today, but is that a late call potentially, or do you think you probably know by today or how he pulls up tomorrow, and one of those ones that you won't risk him given it's such a long season, he's so important?
Yeah, I think we'll know once we get through today's session and see how he pulls up tomorrow, and obviously we've got another session on Wednesday, but as I said, they're two important sessions, but we'll know a bit more today where he's at, both physically and whether he's prepared and ready to perform to the level that we are. And it's the same with Harrison as well. So we'll know more once we get through today. As I said, we've come off a bye, we've had 4 days away, we're back to work, but this is our first really big session that we need to make sure that we have a really good look at where we're at and how we prepare best. But as I've said along, we won't take any risk with any player. We want to make sure we prepare our group to sustain our performance throughout the whole year, and we'll make sure we make that decision later in the week.
As you say, only a 4-day break, so who was able to get away the furthest, Were you able to get the surfboard out or anything, Simon?
Yeah, I got the surfboard out of Noosa. There was probably 5 or 6 of us up in Noosa, so didn't have to go too far. We didn't get away from everyone, but I don't think anyone got much further than that. So everyone stayed pretty local or went and found some sun in Noosa. So it was good to get away. It was good to have a mental refresh, couple of days away, got the board out, had a surf, and learn a few things, which was good.